Let's make history. When the Queensborough Bridge opened to the public on 20 March 1909, it was not called Queensbridge. The original name was the Blackwell Island Bridge, and that was because it went over Blackwell Island, which today is known as Roosevelt Island. And Roosevelt Island has had many other names beside Blackwell Island, but that's the topic of another video. It was the 4th longest bridge in the world, and actually about 80 years prior, there was the first discussions and proposals to create a bridge linking Queens and Manhattan. They tried several times throughout the 1800s, but nothing materialized. 50 lives were lost in the process of building Queensbridge. And in the 21st century, they renamed it the Ed Koch Queensborough Bridge. As far as the housing project, that opened in 1939. And if you're driving on Queensbridge headed into Queens, once you come off, you make a left, go north, and that's where the projects are located. They opened in 1939. It was primarily middle-class whites. Then the management actively changed the racial profile of Queensbridge houses roughly 10 years after its opening. And they transferred most of the middle-class residents to other complexes and replaced them with minorities which were lower on the income level, mostly blacks and Hispanics. And you fast forward to the 1980s, during the crack epidemic in New York City was horrific, and Queensbridge projects unfortunately held the record in 1986 for the most murders than any other housing project in the entire city. Once the 2000s rolled around, crime in Queensbridge projects went way down. The largest housing project in the entire continent of North America, with over 3,000 apartments. People became aware of Queensbridge houses. Many people have through hip-hop culture and music, which some would argue had its genesis there, or at least partially so. During the beginning of hip-hop's creation, there was a big debate on where did the art form begin, in the South Bronx or in Queensbridge houses. And you had that famous rivalry between KRS-One and MC Shan. And even though it's been established that it did indeed start in the Bronx, there's even a hip-hop museum there now, I believe, you can't take away the fact that Queensbridge did play a big part in the birth of the entire movement.